Welcome to Sophisticated Simplicity, where we break down leadership styles, power dynamics, and how to maneuver through corporate hierarchies with intelligence and precision. Today, we're decoding the Taurus boss, the immovable force, the master of consistency, and the ruler of stability. If your Aries boss was a wildfire, your Taurus boss is a fortress, stubborn, slow-moving, but nearly impossible to topple once they've made up their mind. They don't thrive on chaos like Aries. They prefer structure, reliability, and results that stand the test of time. But if you think you can push them around, think again. Taurus bosses aren't reckless decision-makers. In fact, they hate making decisions in a rush. They analyze, they evaluate, and once they set a course, they will not budge, even if it becomes painfully clear that a change of direction is needed. They are obsessed with control, but in a different way from Aries. Where Aries demands instant action, Taurus demands predictability. Their ultimate nightmare? Being rushed, feeling pressured, or being forced into an unpredictable situation. If you push too hard, they will dig their heels in even deeper, even if their decision no longer makes sense. Most people make the mistake of arguing with a Taurus boss head-on, trying to force them into a quicker decision. That's the worst thing you can do. The more you push, the more resistant they become. Instead, the secret to influencing a Taurus boss is subtle redirection, long-term positioning, and making them believe the decision was always theirs. If you try to corner them, you'll fail. But if you plant seeds over time, guide their logic without them realizing it, and frame changes as reinforcing stability rather than disruption, you will have them wrapped around your finger. If you want to win their trust, consistency is everything. Taurus bosses reward loyalty, dependability, and a strong work ethic. They don't care about flashy ideas. They care about who delivers results without unnecessary noise. If you're the type who loves making bold promises but struggles with follow-through, they will quickly label you as unreliable and freeze you out of their inner circle. But if you're calm, steady, and prove over time that you don't create unnecessary problems, they will trust you completely, and once you gain a Taurus boss's trust, they will protect you fiercely. But here's where it gets interesting. Taurus bosses can be shockingly easy to manipulate if you understand their psychology. Unlike Aries bosses who get caught up in the rush of competition, Taurus bosses are rooted in security and self-preservation. They crave control, stability, and predictability, and if you can frame your ideas in a way that aligns with these needs, you can make them agree to almost anything. Want them to approve a risky idea? Make it feel safe. Instead of pitching it as a bold new initiative, position it as a logical extension of what's already working. Say something like, "We've already mastered this part of the business. This next step is just a natural, low-risk expansion." Instead of saying, "We need to move fast before we lose the opportunity," say, "If we take this step now, we'll strengthen our long-term stability and protect what we've already built." Taurus bosses hate uncertainty. If they sense too much risk, they will shut you down instantly. But if they believe a change will reinforce their stronghold, they will consider it. Another way to influence them is by understanding their deep connection to status, luxury, and material success. Taurus bosses are grounded in reality, and whether they admit it or not, they care about money, prestige, and tangible success. They aren't the type to make decisions based on abstract ideas. They want proof, financial logic, and long-term payoffs. If you want them to support your promotion, your project, or your strategy, don't just talk about why it's exciting. talk about how it secures long-term profitability, reinforces stability, and adds tangible value. If they can see the numbers, the gains, and the security it brings, you've won half the battle. But what happens when you have a difficult Taurus boss, one who is overly stubborn, resistant to change, or so focused on their comfort zone that they're blocking your growth? This is where Machiavellian patience comes into play. Taurus bosses don't respond to direct confrontations. They hate disruptions and loathe people who bring too much unnecessary stress into their world. But here's the trick. You don't have to fight them directly to win. Instead, plant doubt slowly over time. If they've made a poor decision but refuse to backtrack, don't argue. Start subtly introducing information that makes them question whether their original choice is still the safest option. For example, if they've resisted adopting a new process, don't say, "We need to change this." Instead, casually mention, "I was reviewing the numbers and I noticed that companies using this process have reduced costs by 30% over time." Then, leave it alone. Let them stew on it. A Taurus boss will never change their mind in the heat of an argument. But if you let them think they've arrived at the idea on their own, they will eventually act on their own timeline. Taurus bosses are also possessive over their team. They take pride in keeping the best people close and rewarding loyalty, which is why one of the best ways to ensure your job security, promotions, and raises is to position yourself as someone they don't want to lose. This doesn't mean you need to be overly submissive. In fact, Taurus bosses respect quiet strength more than they respect people who constantly seek approval. If you want them to advocate for you, show them that you are an asset they can't afford to lose. Drop hints about your value elsewhere, but never as a direct threat. Instead of saying, "I've been getting offers from other companies," casually mention, "I was approached for an interesting opportunity, but I really like the stability we have here and the direction we're growing in." This triggers their territorial nature. They'll start seeing you as a long-term investment they need to secure. Final thought, Taurus bosses move slowly, but once they commit to you, their loyalty is unmatched. They aren't impulsive, and they don't make rash decisions. They reward people who prove their reliability over time and punish those who bring unnecessary instability into their world. If you can master the art of patience, subtle persuasion, and positioning yourself as an irreplaceable part of their structure, they will open doors for you, protect your career, and ensure you thrive. That's it for Sophisticated Simplicity, Taurus Edition. Next up, we'll break down the Gemini boss, the master of unpredictability and mind games. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, play the game smarter.